Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License with service to the United Kingdom and the Royal Palace. We ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember that if during this flight you are in the presence of a royal, please make sure to curtsy or bow yourself before helping others curtsy or bow. Welcome to the TV Pilot's License. My name is Geoff Kerbis, joined by Rich Inman and Max Singer. How you boys doing today?
Get in here, you daft bitches. We're talking about an E-Network scripted series today.
I know this is the wrong country, but off with their heads.
Oh my gosh. Well, gentlemen, this week we are talking about a one of a kind. We are talking about an E-scripted series by the name of The Royals. But before we do so, I want to make sure that folks know a little bit more about what the show is all about. So Max, can you tell me that?
Here at TV Pilot's License, we break down and analyze the pilot episodes of some of TV's most famous, or in some cases, infamous shows. Today's case, we talk about how these shows came to be and were originally made, if they're effective pilot episodes and making us want to watch more, and if we think they can be made today. Go back and stream our old episodes from wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok to see our smiling faces. Thank you for breaking 1,000 subscribers over on YouTube. We appreciate you all. If it is your first time flying with us, then welcome aboard.
And Rich, what is your question of the week?
Well, Jeff, I know you like to bring every week a little synopsis of the show, and let me just spoil that for you right now, because the entirety of this show is what if the British royal family was hot? And we experimented with that once in the 90s, and it didn't go well. And
oh my God, Jesus Christ.
So I want to know, like, is that exciting? Is it more exciting? Is it more alluring if the British royal family is hot? Does it give more reason to the monarchy? Is there anything that would be, what would be the changes of history if the British royal family was hot?
Oh gosh, what a fun question. Because now I'm looking back on history and I'm just thinking about, like, but what if they gave? Right? Like, what if this person was just
they serve the people, Jeff? That's
what if they just ate all the time? But what I've sort of come down to is, interestingly, over the past 30 or so years, we've seen many iterations of, like, oh, the royal family is really hot, right? Like, I remember in the 2000s when everyone was, which prince did you think was the cuter prince? That was like a thing that happened in my high school with William and Harry, right? And it's just one of those. And then there's the whole Meghan Markle thing, and then there's Princess Kate, and
but liking the royal family always feels like having a crush in grade school, where you're just like, do you think they're actually attractive, or are they just around you?
But that's the thing, right? Like, it's super interesting to think of as an American culture where somehow, like, there is this era of intrigue because it's not something that we're around us all the time, that adds, like, it's sort of the joke of, like, okay, if a person has a British accent, they're like 10% hotter. Cool. If you also add that they have a title with their name, like Lord, Duke, Queen,
sure,
King, Prince, Princess, they're 25% hotter. So, like, yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Rich, I think that we've lived in an era where there are hot people who happen to be in the throne, but maybe we just haven't appreciated them as much.
Jeff, by that logic, if your indie pop darling King Princess is the hottest person on the planet for you.
My God, 2 royal titles.
Max, what about you?
Yeah, it's funny you ask this question, Rich, because I'm watching this pilot. I'm watching with my wife, and she made a really astute observation, which I think we could debate here. Which she claimed the Queen of England would never have a smoky eye, to which I would say she would if she was hot. And yes. I think because we've spent most of the 20th century, most of our time observing pop culture with one idea of the Queen of England in mind. And I mean, no disrespect to Lizzie. She was an absolutely glamorous woman. Sure. But, you know, I mean, this is really asking us, what if the family was just absolutely, like, hot messes and, like, absolutely, like, came to get down? And I do think that it would draw attention. That's just like a phenomenon anywhere. Like, any country that has anyone in power who's remotely attractive people lose their minds over it. And this show really does ask that question.
And
That's
Rich,
true.
just before you answer, when you also are hot and a hot mess, it sort of cancels each other out, unlike the royal title being added on.
That's true. Yeah, that you're back to a regular human being. At
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Point.
You're normal hot then.
That is such an interesting point because like I see people being really weird, like bonk go to horny jail about like AOC. And people like that, and I'm like, okay, let's all relax. She's also quite smart, and I think we should maybe listen to her a little bit. But it's so conflicting, or it's not conflicting. It's confounding, like the proximity to power and actual attractiveness. If like, can you imagine if anyone in the actual British royal family had cum gutters? That would be.
Jesus Christ.
That would be so upsetting. There's like it really would bring like the world conversation to England again.
Now, like Rich, I was just about to say, I think that one of the things that happens when you have someone who has a title who is decently attractive, if not hot, because I don't want to call out anyone specifically in this situation or go to horny jail, I think that there is this lizard part of our brains that is sort of like, well, they can't do multiple things, right? Like they can't be hot and in power. That's just impossible. And it blows our brains a little bit.
I know Trudeau is like a 6, but a Canadian 12.
I need to circle back to the use of the British phrase "cum gutters" here and how we put that together, because I'm just picturing like a real like Bert from Mary Poppins situation, like, oh, I don't clean your cum gutters.
Yeah, it is. That would be like
Chimmery.
an actual. Knowing how all these castles were built forever ago, like the way that people used to like shit in these castles is like, no, we have to have the cum gutters, otherwise the sewage is going to be overwhelming.
Chim chimmery, chim chimmery, chim chim chiroo. You came just a little. I'll clean
No.
it for you.
No.
All right. Well, Rich, thank you so much for that question of the week.
And apologies to Dick Van Dyke.
He knows what he did.
Let's talk a little bit more about the Royals. And Rich, even though you tried to give a synopsis, I'm going to give the real one. The extravagant life of conniving Queen Helena and her royal family threatens to crack when tradition and duty collide with treachery and desire.
The queen is so unimportant in this entire episode.
Rich, I was just about to say, I think that is one of the most misleading synopsises we've done on this podcast. And Max, I want to hear from you how this show got made. What happened?
We are talking about the pilot episode of The Royals titled "Stand and Unfold Yourself," which originally aired on March 15th, 2015 on E! We're talking about the show's creator, Mark Schwahn, a bit more today. We previously covered Schwahn on TVPL as the creator of One Tree Hill. Go back and listen to one of my personal Dark Horse favorite episodes to learn more about him. In 2013, E!, the channel best known for bringing us the Kardashians and the Red Carpet Glambot, announces a slate of original scripted pilots, a few of which are projects previously not moved forward into production at other networks. Of the shows that never made it to air, we have, in no particular order, Songbird, a musical series based on the work of Diane Warren, Laurel Canyon, a drama from Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage of The OC and Gossip Girl, The Stand-In, a dark retelling of Mark Twain's The Prince and the Pauper, executive produced by Ryan Seacrest, Expectations, a modern-day version of Charles Dickens' Great Expectations set in the New York City diamond world from Academy Award-winning writer Ron Bass of Rain Man, Dirty Pretty, a blue-collar worker from Boston gets scouted to be a model in Miami and his buddies move down with him to start a criminal enterprise. The Shoreline, where a major Hollywood primetime soap production upends life in small South Carolina. And Fortunate Son, where a high-profile Hollywood elite becomes a police informant after being framed for a drug deal gone wrong. Shockingly, of this list, only the Royals and Songbird get pilot orders, and the Royals is the only one to make it to air. Ironically, Songbird did star Bethany Joy Lenz of One Tree Hill fame.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Royals is loosely based on the 2011 novel Falling for Hamlet by Michelle Ray. Today's pilot episode is also a quote from the first scene of Shakespeare's Hamlet, every single episode of this show is named for lines from Hamlet as well.
Okay.
The series is picked up to order and production begins in London in March 2014. There is one casting change of note between the original pilot version and what we do see today as the pilot, where the role of Ophelia was originally played by Haley Lou Richardson, you know her from season 2 of The White Lotus, but was replaced by Merritt Patterson, who we see today. The show did cause a stir ahead of its premiere with a cheeky fake tabloid video of a naked man, minus his socks, climbing out of a Buckingham Palace window. The video was actually picked up by a variety of real news outlets before being debunked as show promo for the Royals. And that takes us to today's pilot.
Okay, so have either of you guys, maybe aside from the Kardashians, I've never seen it, but like, have you guys watched anything from the E! Network at all before this?
You guys aren't Glambot junkies? Like, you're not.
That's just a red carpet thing.
Yeah, no, red carpet pre-show doesn't count.
That's a red carpet, like, I don't know. It's a TikTok machine.
Okay,
so rent those for your bar mitzvah.
What are the heavy hitters on E? You've got over the course of history. You've got the Playboy Mansion one with the girlfriends. Girls Next Door.
Girls Next Door, I think.
You had Wild On, which was their travel show where they went to like hot party destinations.
Total Divas, which was the WWE Divas show.
Right. You've got the one where it's the Bella Sisters. You got Botched, of course. You got Botched.
Botched is a banger.
Botched is a powerhouse. You got that one that was the Girls Next Door spinoff with Kendra and her husband, who was the Philadelphia Eagles player.
Hank Baskett, yeah.
Of
course. Of course.
Boy, I just watched something absolutely click in Jeff's brain.
Did either... Wait, was House of Villains one of those as well?
House of Villains, yep. House of Villains is the original.
There's definitely...
It's a reality show.
You know, as we joke about this... Oh, also, the Bradshaw Bunch was another one of those that was on there as well. As we joke...
Yeah. Sorry. And I do want to have a disclaimer. It's like, if you like the show and you're tuning into us for the first time, we're not going to talk pleasantly about this show. However, we are challenged to say something nice about it at the end.
Yes, we are.
Rich, of the shows that Jeff and I just rambled off, how many are currently on your DVR?
That would be a good physical media bit for me to just have a TiVo in 2025.
We're actually sponsored by TiVo, you guys. Like that's where the dollars come in.
Rich doesn't use Hulu. He has to get it on TiVo if he's gonna watch it.
But as we're talking about this, I think it's something to think about, right? Like, it seems like there was this concerted effort to say by E! Like, hey, we have all these reality type of TV shows. We need something that is star-based or non-reality based and like something scripted, and it came out with this. And I want to dive into the show a little bit more deeply because, you know, last week when we talked about Bob's Burgers, we talked about the idea of you can describe a character in one sentence. You sort of have that ability to do so. And Rich, I want to challenge you because in this opening sequence, boy, are we introduced to a lot of people. And would you like to pick one of the, let's call them our main three. We have Prince Liam, Princess Eleanor, and Queen Helena, who are introduced to us in these single moments. And would you like to pick one to explain with a single sentence?
I would say Liam is what if
what if
hold on I'm
that's
trying
it
to remember the
what
character's
if
name. I'm trying to remember the character's
good
name.
at
Sorry.
darts and fucks.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the fuck is the name of that Ryan Gosling college movie series that he used to do.
Van Wilder?
You're confusing your Canadian Ryans again.
Yeah.
What if Van Wilder was? Well, did I say Gosling? I meant Ryan Reynolds. I'm sorry. What if Van Wilder was part of the royal family? But he also had a heart at the end of it. It is insane that within the first 2 minutes of this pilot, we are seeing the absolute height of luxury mixed with people doing slow-mo shots of doing cocaine at a club out in the open where it's very easy to take a photo of you. They're just like, it felt immediately like this is too stupid to be real.
Well,
I'm
Rich,
out.
we were at the darkest, bluest nightclub in existence, so no one was going to see you doing cocaine there.
I know. Have you guys' eyes adjusted since you watched
Yeah,
that
no,
scene?
there was so much blue light. No one was sleeping that night. It was just everywhere for them. No one was wearing their blue light glasses. I mean, this show's opening is utterly bananas. Just in the idea of we see Elizabeth Hurley's queen character at the beginning, and we're given every sense at the beginning of this pilot that the queen rules everything. The queen is in charge of absolutely everything that is happening in this show from that first minute. And I've never been more misled in my entire life. And that is not, I'm not going to fault Elizabeth Hurley for that. I think that she does a perfectly fine job at the beginning of this show of being like, oh yeah, I know my schedule. I walk up, I wear my glasses. I hate, though, I have a question for you too. Have you ever heard a word said and thought it was a curse word, even though it's not? Because the way that Elizabeth Hurley says commoners made me feel dirty and like I should take a shower immediately. But Rich, you sort of mentioned this Princess Eleanor scene to juxtapose the perception of royal, the perception of being high class and high standard. And Max, I want to hear from you. Were you back in your clubbing days when you saw Princess Eleanor just having the time of her life?
God.
Oh, and also explain when your clubbing days was.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's incredibly 2015 though. It's like everyone's got some combination of like sequin or bandage dresses on. It's this real like sleazy, like bass, like indie shit going. I do need to take a moment to point out a massive continuity error in the beginning of this pilot, which is that they play Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones,
Yes.
indicating this takes place during the Vietnam War, but everyone has cell phones.
That's so stupid.
So just gotta call that out.
that is for 20 people maybe at Max's show.
Also, I'm so glad that they burnt their entire budget on 11 seconds of Gimme Shelter and couldn't afford writers.
So I do find it interesting with this show is there's multiple moments throughout the show that they sort of are just like surprise, right? Like that they try to do that surprise moment, or like you weren't expecting that, were you? And like the first one being that we see our Prince Liam sleep with this woman who we assume is just some random person. But then when the security guard comes into Liam's room and then knows the girl's name, to which she pops up, we get this idea of, oh, this might be someone important. Hypothetically, the one and single only time this show has any form of narration is within the first 3 minutes of the show, and it happens to be Ophelia.
Jeff, you forget that, of course, she's important, because when she talks in an extremely crowded and large bar, everyone stops talking immediately.
When she spoke with an American accent, I thought an actor messed up.
Yes.
The other thing is, I think we're doing a bad job of implying how important being good at darts is in the United Kingdom, because my dear God, I think that's why Prince Liam is a prince, because he hit 3 bullseyes in a row. You could give me 1,000 shots at a dartboard, and I don't think I'm doing that to save my goddamn life.
It's
Yeah,
a big
same.
deal in the UK. Like, they have like full-on darts arenas that are loaded with thousands of people. The world champion right now is this 16-year-old who looks like he's 45 with 3 kids and a bad mortgage. Like,
Yeah.
it's a huge deal over there, and we only know about it in American TV through the Royals and Ted Lasso.
I was like, I know that game. That's the fake game from Ted Lasso.
Oh, soccer.
yeah, sorry.
So let's talk a little bit about why today is different, and if it seems like a draw for y'all. Because Max, you mentioned a lot about Hamlet in the beginning of this, how this show got made, and you know, there is a death in the family, a death of a character that we have never met once in our entire
Prince Hamlet.
Prince
Hamlet died.
Could you imagine if they called him Prince Hamlet and just like
They named one of the characters Ophelia.
I mean, yeah, but Prince Hamlet would be literally the most insane. Like, we just couldn't come up with something in the room, so we named him Hamlet, and we forgot to change it. Like, I could see this show doing that, but Max, do you find this a big enough Why Is Today Different for us to meet all of these characters in one room?
I think that obviously deaths and funerals are really big, like Why Is Today, inciting incidents, and they're good reasons from a writing perspective to get a lot of people into one place at one time. And like that's what kicks off this show and kind of gets our story going. Because like, yeah, there is, the princess Eleanor embarrassing the family by getting put on the covers of the tabloids with an upskirt photo, and there is this implication that Liam wants to be more like of a man of the people, and he feels comfortable with the common folk to be able to like go to a college bar and play darts and drink beer amongst normal people. But this death brings in all of these outsiders, all of these people who seem a lot more interested in the concept of royalty than our main family itself. And when you start to like, you're bringing the wolves into the hen house, basically, is what this death of Prince Robert does.
So, Rich, I'm curious for you, because we get these hints that, the entire family is going to be coming to this funeral because there was a death. There's even the implication of, they're all coming, aren't they? They're all going to gather here. The wolves that Max mentioned.
Yeah, it's like a family reunion. It's like you're partially excited, partially like ugh.
What did you think of said wolves? What did you think of the extended family coming in and even meeting our most, and I'll be fair, the saddest king I have ever seen on any form of a show, but also, to be fair, his son just died. He did just lose his son. So I want we've talked a little bit about our main three, but I want to hear from you about some of the external characters.
Cyrus is... Oh, go ahead, Rich. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think they should have put the stuttering king from A King's Speech in there as the king. I was hoping for more exciting characters in the sense that, like, I can't just, like, watch people do drugs and live in opulence. That's not exciting to me. And, boy, do they deliver with the cousins, who are, they're cousins, right? Like, the two fucking weirdos.
They're the royal families, the, duchesses, I would assume.
Massively turned this show around for me. Those two characters are fucking bananas, and I want to believe that, like, with the amount of money and not really an obligation to do anything within the royal family circle, like, yeah, they're gonna be stupid. Like, I want stupid people. I want stupid people in the royal family. If there's no pressure on them to do anything, I kind of want some dumbness.
Yeah, you absolutely need Maribel and Penelope, and no, I will not pretend to know which one is which, though they both feel like bad Vanessa Bayer characters that got cut for time. And yeah, then you have Cyrus, who is the Claudius, if we're doing Hamlet. He is the evil, lecherous one. We even imply that he wants the throne. There is an indication and foreshadowing of he may try to kill the king at some point, because we are doing Hamlet here, folks. Get ready. And he's the absolute worst. And they establish him as a villain, but I don't think he's necessarily an interesting villain. A lot of the show just feels like it gets stuck on the surface, even when it tries to do its more like emotional moments. Like it never clicks below, this is the sad speech, this is the evil speech, this is the romantic speech. Like everything kind of just gets stuck on like a flat surface level. I don't know if you felt that.
I'm really glad you brought this up, Max, because for myself, in my notes, I have a couple of things. First, I just want to say to the audience, at the 4-minute mark, because sometimes I put notes of like how far I'm into the show, just to remind myself. I said, at this point, Rich has thrown his TV through, or his remote through his TV, because he is screaming, Geoff, why did you make me watch this? But the thing that I have is every person in this script is very one note. There doesn't seem to be much of a dimension. And like there's one scene that I really liked in this entire pilot. And that was the scene of them leaving the castle to go to the funeral. and you see King Simon holding the child. It's this very emotional scene of like seeing that he is a man of the people, and sort of it gives us some understanding of why he wants to. Spoiler alert for everyone: the big otherwise this day different. The king wants to get rid of the royalty within the country, which is which
that's a
you
good
know
plot
what?
line.
Tell me if you just made that the plot line of this, like
the show, the whole show
of the entire show.
Yeah,
holy shit, that's super duper interesting. But it sort of gets like thrown in the background, and we're more interested in, oh, what if a princess just had a real big drug problem that no one wanted to talk about?
Yeah,
and
what if Lindsay Lohan was in the royal family?
But
like,
I think this is what the issue is that it's so many different things. We are doing this loose adaptation of Hamlet, but we're also throwing in this, like, we're doing Daily Mail tabloid culture and how the media scrutinizes these people, but we're also doing this thing about like dissolution of the royal family and what purpose does the monarchy serve in the 21st century. But we're doing so many different shows at once.
Right. Because I think that would be from just like a historical standpoint, in the same way that like in the same way that I think like Paradise kind of scratches that itch. Like it's interesting to see the functions of a government in decline and how that happens, and how the family would have to adjust, and how the people would adjust to them and stuff like that if they did like abdicate the throne. Like, I think that's cool. That would be cool to watch. They just missed the mark.
There's two things I want to bring up with this, and the first is this was a 56-minute pilot.
Oh boy, yeah, well, yes, sure was.
Which I'm very curious of. There was a lot of stuff that happened in here that I think we would agree, as three people who've watched a shitload of TV, probably did not need to be in the pilot episode. But the other thing that I was left with, and I'm curious for you two, is yes, having a funeral is a great way of getting a lot of people together. But there were too many people that we needed to learn about through the 56 minutes of this pilot. And I feel like I left it knowing nothing about anyone other than the most base level shit.
Do you think if this episode went 4 more minutes, we all would have heard bong, bong, bong?
I mean, I would have been like, sign me up for 30 episodes of this at least.
Can we just really quickly talk about the tabloid journalist getting a face-to-face exclusive interview with Prince Liam on the steps of Buckingham Palace during this royal funeral? The mixture of the royal family in and out of public in this entire pilot is fucking insane to me. The king just walks around by the Thames multiple times, like, but he has his hat down so no one knows it's the king.
But also, you know what, there was not a lot of like, hey, let's not do that, let's like resist a little bit in the show. I want to congratulate E for resisting and not making that reporter an E! News reporter.
The Royals asks a very important question, which is, what if Prince William went on Chicken Shop date?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, looking through some of like the notes that I have, what did you guys think about the insistence of this show of having just plot twist after plot twist, or having just like evil monologue after evil monologue? It feels like they were trying to write this pilot and say, like, which of these will stick? We'll decide based off of our ratings after we look at them.
Yeah, it felt like they went with like a big board of what can we do to characters, and not how do we get people to understand these characters more. Because the way that the characters were like relating to each other, I heard multiple times the king say like, they don't, I see beautiful things in like in your future and stuff. I see like a really strong presence from you, talking to his kids. And I'm like, how do you, okay, can you show us some of that? Can you show us what that might look like at all? Like, it's just very like, I know that you're trying to add tons of drama to it, but that's like what a soap opera does. A soap opera is like, we're not going to learn all that much about the characters. We're going to see them in really insane scenarios. That's it.
Yeah, it's trying to do this big kind of like dynasty-esque thing where it's like everything is plot twists and how do we develop characters strictly through plot points, and that's just not really clicking in this. I don't think it has quite the heart or the depth of, say, Mark Schwann's One Tree Hill, which really examined like class and family dynamics and things like that. I don't think it has nearly the heart that something like the OC does as far as like a young adult primetime soap. It just feels like it's stuck in this gear where it is truly just trying to plot point its way through an hour-long episode.
You know what this show wants to be? This show wants to be a CW show. This show really wants to be a CW show. But here's the issue, is the CW show recognizes that, like, you can't have every single person on the show be the worst human being. You only can have, like, 1, 2, maybe 3 terrible people, but there's got to be someone that you give a shit about in the show. There has to be that person. Like, I'll use an example. I was watching this, and I was like, we've done a lot of CW shows on this, and that's one of the reasons we love doing shows like this, is because we're just like, let's just like have some fun and sit back and not care about like important high stakes TV. And I was thinking about Riverdale, right? Like in Riverdale, when we watched that, we were all sort of like, oh yeah, there's Archie, and he's like an idiot, but like we like him. He seems cool.
Hot idiot.
Like I look at this and I'm sort of thinking like, hey, what's missing? And I'm like, oh, we're missing our like person that we literally are like, that's me. Oh, it's me. And I know they're trying to make Ophelia that person of like, oh, it's me, the American. Like right. I am also Ophelia. And what would it be like if I was like having this forbidden love with this prince? Like, ooh, baby. And yeah, that's a little bit hard as a white cisgendered man to be like, yep, that's me. But also at the same time, I watch plenty of other things that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm one of the Gilmore Girls, and like, strap me up and let's.
Which one?
Exactly. I'm Lorelai, motherfucker.
Take this BuzzFeed quiz and answer these 20 questions.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's interesting that you brought up Riverdale, Geoff, because I thought from when we started this conversation, my first comparison point was Smallville, because a lot of this is going to be based around, and you can see it from almost the beginning of the pilot. A lot of this is going to be based around, how do I find my own identity and personhood while this thing separates me from everybody, separates me from the common folk. And that is basically what Clark Kent has to do the entire time in Smallville, is like reason with his superpowers and be an actual human being to other people.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very solid point. Max, watching this, you did watch the 56 minutes. Otherwise, you're really good at lying to us. I'm curious if there's like a thing that you're thinking through this that maybe would have attached you a little bit more to these characters.
I feel like it almost has to just get a little fine-tuned, a little streamlined, because like you said, Geoff, they want me to view Liam as a protagonist, Eleanor as a protagonist, Simon as a protagonist, Helena as a protagonist, Ophelia as a protagonist. All these people are trying to steal the show, and all of them are dealing with circumstances and wants that feel like they belong in different shows at times. And then we also are doubling and tripling down on these things to make, Uncle Cyrus as evil as well, just to remind you that he is our Claudius, and Ophelia's dad is our Polonius. Like, they're doing all these things to hit a lot of wants and hit a lot of tones, and it's a lot. It's just so much.
Since you brought that up, do you think that any of this is a nod to Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet? In the sense that, like, they made these characters so over the top with their flaws and so, like, modernized with their flaws that's kind of a nod to that?
I mean, it certainly could be the idea of we're going to try to make their wants and needs and problems more relatable to an audience, but that's also following one story, and this is taking a story, making it loose framework, and then adding all these other things on top of it. I almost feel like you have to either say, we're doing it, and we're going all in on this being Hamlet, i.e. early Sons of Anarchy,
Right.
or you need to abandon that and make it a show about what it means to be in the monarchy, in the internet age, in the tabloid age, in a fleeting necessity for it as the empire shrinks. Like, that's an entirely different show.
Yeah.
So I want to do something a little bit different with you two, because we've been fairly not positive about this show. And I'm curious because, Max, you put this note in our show notes of, are we setting up a world we're interested in moving forward in? And I have a question for each of you. If you could do one thing to make this show more interesting for you to be able to continue watching it, what would you do? And I'll start just to give you guys a little bit of something. I think that this show would really benefit from doing, and Rich, you already mentioned it, the paradise of the situation. Having the perspective of one person in that episode and the backstory of that one person, so that we sympathize, can get a little bit more understanding. And then let's say by episode 5, you're like, oh, I understand why that human being is acting that way and absolutely batshit bananas, right? We could start off very easily with, if we want Ophelia to be our narrator, I'm cool with that. That's great. But let's make sure that we follow her from the beginning of the show. And sure, we can intro the queen and stuff like that, but make it mostly Ophelia for me to be able to see the perspective of what is life like from the royal family, from someone who is inside of the castle rather than someone experiencing it. But that also probably is more closely aligned with the young adult novel that this entire show was based off of.
Right.
Max, I'm curious for you. If there was that one thing that you could potentially do to this pilot, what would you do?
Axe the Shakespeare. Just cut that entire side out of it, because even things like when Eleanor is on the balcony with Ophelia and she says to Eleanor, like, oh, you're a badass, and leaves, Eleanor then has this really weird aside to the audience in a way, and it feels so out of tone. It's like, just say that line to Ophelia. Like, we don't need to build asides and break walls and things like that. I am interested in Eleanor and the cousins smoking a bong in Buckingham Palace and then raiding the royal kitchen and having these conversations between a parent and a child. Having a conversation between like a parent and child about, the difficulties of life and growing up in the spotlight. And I'm interested in Liam wanting to be a regular bloke who could go to the bar and watch footy with his mates and, throw darts. I'm just like, that's the stuff that is...
If you say one more British thing, they're not going to let you back across the border next time you travel.
I yield my time to Geoff.
Tim Tams. And that's not even British. Rich, I'm curious about you. What is that one edit you'd like to potentially do with this show?
Okay, so, I did mention, like, I would love to see... I'm trying to avoid comparing this show to The Crown, because The Crown is a dramatized historical nonfiction, basically. Or I guess it's fiction, nonfiction.
It does ask what if the royal family was hot, though.
Yeah, it does.
And boy, are they.
Yeah. Olivia Colman, hit me up anytime. I do think that the difficulty you have with making a show about royals is that that there are no consequences to bad behavior. Any consequences is like, no matter, you can't get voted out of the royal family. You know what I mean?
There's 2 people in the U.S. that would say otherwise.
I was going to say Prince Andrew.
I was not by the public. Not by the public. The public has no say in this. So, like, if you have a scandal, if you have something, it's like that. The only people that can hold you accountable are the people who are like in the royal family, who are concerned about the image to the public. No one's going to uprise. No one's going like. There's too much fanfare around the royal family. So my addition would be to have more people involved in the actual UK government be part of this, and people who have like actual jobs at stake. Like, you know, I would love to see what the royal family would do if the king actually abdicated the entire monarchy in general. It just like completely dismantled it. I would love to see how the UK handled that. But if we're not doing that, and there's 4 seasons, so they didn't do it. There's a second episode, so they didn't do it. I would just love to see like some more high stakes consequences aside from the unseen prince dying.
Yeah, well, gentlemen, we end our pilot, and I'll just give a quick synopsis with a lot of twists, a lot of turns, and a lot more chaos to come. And rather than going through point by point, I'd like to ask the two of you to say something nice. What is something you liked about this pilot? What's something that you want to give a little bit more shine to, or a thing that you loved?
I've got 2, actually. I hope that Justin Vernon got a big old bag of money for the use of his song By God from his side project Volcano Choir in this show. I hope he got a big old fat stack of cash that let him make weird Bon Iver records. And there are just some absolutely bonkers one-liners in this show that are so fun to say, and we didn't hit on them as they came up. But, I mean, just going down this list really quickly, I am the Queen of England. When am I not ready? The use of the phrase royal beaver. We've got a great one. Sorry to come unannounced. That's what she said. I'm a bitch with money and power, but I do make it look good. You're the king of England, goddammit, act like it. That's exactly what I intend to do. I mean, there's just some phenomenal one-liners.
That's so funny. Was that your first or second one?
I hit on both. I got the Justin Vernon getting the bag and delightful one-liners.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't make it past the line. They can't make us Canadian, can they, Daddy?
Yeah, that was
ooh, beautiful. It was such a great. I actually have 2 myself. It's the 2 princesses who are just like fucking clown shoes in the in Buckingham Palace. But that whole dinner table scene of the "They can't make us Canadian, can they, Daddy?" is amazing. The second is watching a member of the royal family do cocaine reminds me of my favorite Alex Edelman bit about that the prince, when he got caught using cocaine, was technically using pictures of his grandmother to start cocaine. That's one of my favorite things. It's one of my favorite observations I've ever heard in like the history of stand-up comedy, and it just like brought me back to that moment, which is really fun.
You ever have a needle drop that like hits you in your soul? Because boy, when Problem came on, was I rocking out to that song. It was in the nightclub. I believe that song's by Natalia Kills, and it is who. I was just like, all right, cool. I know where all this money was spent. Like this money was all spent on Rolling Stones and potentially this song, because in 2015 this song was
Keith Richards made more than anyone on the show.
Yeah, exactly. But like I say that jokingly in the sense that there was a lot of money spent on this pilot. This did not look cheap. There was a very easy way to make this a bunch of sound stages and like pretend, but they filmed in castles. Like I was looking at the filming locations for this. They could have just done the press corps of like 1 or 2 people. No, they had there were 30, 40 people every single time. There were full staffs. This was a expensive pilot, and it looked like it.
This is still an NBC Universal property. Like, let's not talk about like it was a QVC original. This is still a big conglomerate behind it.
Wait, we have to write a QVC.
Can we please
original?
write a QVC original and sell it to QVC? I beg of you.
That's so funny. I mean, I love that. I love that For You is already like not available anywhere, and that's the only QVC related show I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh. Well, gentlemen, it's time to talk about wait a minute moments, things that caused you pause. And I'll just start. We already knew that the uncle was evil. I didn't need a scene of him sexually assaulting someone to further know that he was evil, because here's the thing that did. that was the moment where I was like, damn, that's the most evil thing that guy could have done. And then when he took a shot at his brother and missed, I was like, still not the most evil thing he did. Like it almost downplayed how bad of a guy this is. And that to me was like, we could have gotten rid of 11 minutes of this pilot. And that's a very easy 2 minutes to just knock out and say, we don't need this. Rich, what about you?
Let it unravel over time. It's so funny, Max, that your thing that you liked was some of these one-liners, because the one moment I wrote this down immediately because it happens in the first 45 seconds of the pilot. The "Of course I'm ready. I'm the Queen of England. When am I not ready?" line is the worst line I've ever heard in a cold open of all time. It is so bad. It is so bad. Holy Christ. I texted both of you. I am 6 lines into this pilot and I'm ready to throw my remote through the TV. That is exactly where that happened. I could not believe how bad that line was both delivered and used in this.
All right. Well, Max, what about yourself?
I just did a quick Google search to see if I could get an answer for my wait a minute moment, which is, would an Irishman really work for the royal family?
Oh, that's a very good point. That's a very, very good point.
Because Liam's security guard being Irish as a plot point felt very, very conflating of how we view everything kind of going around in those islands over there.
Do the Northern Irish call themselves just Irish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, there you go.
Well, gentlemen, we do have one more question, and this is an in-flight question. Our in-flight question this week comes from Monica in South Carolina, and Monica asks, pitch a TV show based on the name of a Lorde song. So we know the song Royals, but, I'm asking you to delve into your Lorde fandom, pick a song, and I want you to give us a little pitch of what that show is going to be all about. Max, you're nodding your head. I want to hear from you first.
Oh, easy. I'm going with the track off of Solar Power called Stoned at the Nail Salon. And the plot of it is I'm stoned at the nail salon.
Oh my gosh. Rich, what about yourself?
Yeah, I got you. All right. So it's a young first generation Indian American girl, and she's going to high school and she's trying to find a boyfriend. And she's got a couple nerdy friends along with her for the ride. And John McEnroe, for some reason, is the voiceover person for her. And it's called Tennis Court.
Oh, my God. All right. I am going to go off of the Pure Heroine album. Now, I want you to imagine we're in a high school. And it happens to be that there are a group of teens that also are drug dealers. And they are dealing in cocaine, and it is called White Teeth Teens. And nice. It is drama. We got some love. We got some sex. We got everything that you want that this show did not give me. But Monica, I want to thank you so much for that in-flight question. We'll talk a little bit more.
QVC, hit us up for these originals.
Yeah, exactly. We can sell something in each of these.
Yeah. Wait till you see my next pilot. Girl, so confusing.
Oh my God. We'll talk a little bit more. I genuinely know that Lorde has that song Hammer that just came out, and there was a Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback whose name was the Hammer, and I was just like, it's just a sports biopic about him. Exactly that. Nice. But we'll talk a little bit more about how to submit those at the end of the episode. Let's talk about the history of the show. This show had 4 seasons and 40 episodes. In case you were curious, yes, they filmed all of the episodes in London, as nothing is filmed in Hollywood anymore. The first episode of this show had its highest ratings of the entire series. It had 1.4 million viewers. That first season averaged about, Rich is so upset. That first season of the show.
Just like, what happened to America, man? We can't even film Buckingham Palace in Los Angeles anymore. What the fuck was that statement? Like, I can't believe this show about the royal family was filmed in London. Why couldn't they film it in Canoga Park?
That because I knew you would get upset.
Why can't they film this in Simi Valley and just build a Buckingham Palace there?
Is that a Tommy's Burgers in the background?
Why couldn't they just film this at Harry Potter World at Universal Studios? Oh shit! You guys ever think about how this set in London looks like London and not Vancouver?
So, the first season of the show averaged about 1 million viewers. One of the things that I found super interesting about the show is that every single episode of it was shown at 10 p.m. on Sundays, which is such a wild time slot.
Rough.
And like, looking at how the show
You got to compete with Bill Maher.
You're competing. Well, also, we mentioned how this is an NBC property. You're competing directly against Sunday Night Football every single week. And you're literally being like, all right, household.
Yeah, but Sunday Night Football was like 8 hours earlier.
It's the Texans versus the Browns, or you can see Elizabeth Hurley, which is your choice. Now, as far as the show being broadcast, this was super interesting. It was shown in the U.S. and Canada, and then it was also shown in the U.K. and Ireland. But after 2 seasons, the U.K. didn't renew it to be shown on their version of E! And that, to me, very, very
it's
funny.
It's called Oi.
We talked a little bit about this before we started recording. But this show can be found on Netflix entirely for free, or you can be like Rich and buy the first episode to watch.
So,
you can also...
Elizabeth Hurley's kids or husband or whatever, you're welcome for that 0.3 cents of residuals.
And also, you can buy all episodes of the show on DVD if you are really, really interested. No, I have no awards information for either of you. How dare you even think to ask me? Rich,
this wasn't raking in BAFTAs with both hands.
Rich, it is time for your game of the week.
All right. Oh, and it didn't load on my computer. 1 second. This is royal family trivia, motherfucker. All right, but it's weird. All right, King Charles II was notorious for having a medicinal tincture made of what? A, human skulls. B, dung beetles. C, dog blood. D, whale penis.
Whale penis, duh.
It has to be that whale penis.
Incorrect. It is A, human skulls.
That's worse.
They called him King Cannibal. Which is a pretty fucking sick name. You can catch me at King Cannibal. Queen Elizabeth II had a designated staff member who would do this for her. A, remove her makeup. B, blow on her soup. C, break in her shoes. D, help her up from the toilet.
Break in shoes.
Help her up from the toilet.
It is break in shoes. She had someone on her team with the same shoe size as her that would wear them out for a little while.
You know what? I would pay good money for that, actually.
A queen never blisters. and that is it for my game of the week. It was devastatingly short to make up for this TV hour 15 pilot.
Oh my gosh. Well, Rich, thank you for your game of the week. Gentlemen, I have 2 questions for you as our flight comes to a land. And the first is, surprise me. Watch more of this pilot. I dare you. Tell me that you're watching more of the show. But the second question is, we talked a little bit about what we would do to fix this show to make it more interesting and maybe watch that second episode. But I'm asking you, there is still intrigue about the royal family. There's still TV shows that talk about the royal family or royalty as a whole. I will even allow us to expand to things like Game of Thrones as being something that is about a group of royals dealing with internal politics. Additionally, is that type of TV interesting to you? Especially if they're hot. So I'm curious, Rich, what are you thinking?
Yeah. I'm not watching another episode of the show. Go figure. And I don't think we need any more depictions of the royal family. If there is another country with a royal family that is fucking batshit, cool. Let's give it to me. I want to see the royal family of Thailand or Nigeria or something like that. Like if it's full of crazy people, I want to watch it. But this is just like, we know that there is almost nothing that is super interesting about the royal family, because they have PR'd themselves into this insane, like, regimented vision of what the royal family is supposed to be, and if you don't fit that mold, they kick you out of it. So yeah, that's my succinct answer.
Max, what about yourself?
Look, if you want to learn about the royal family, watch The Crown. If you want to learn about Mark Schwahn originals, go watch One Tree Hill. I can't recommend the royals to anyone in good faith. As to your second question, I just feel like the well's been tapped in terms of the British monarchy, because it's like you're either doing biopics, which we've done to oblivion, or you're doing like kind of like weird subversive takes like Spencer from a couple of years ago. But I just don't know what else there is to say in the modern era of it. But I do think like high stakes dramas and high stakes families work well. I mean, something like Succession works for that reason because it's dealing with this almost monarchy-esque type of family. But I don't know. I don't know if we need more British monarchy.
All
TV. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers.
Kind of both. But yeah, go on.
All right, surprise! I've watched every episode. No, I'm kidding.
Jeff, I would be worried for your mental health.
I probably will never think about this show again. But what I'll say as far as royal TV, and I was thinking about this. What's the best royal or king or prince or thing that I've watched recently that I was just like, oh, wasn't that fun? Wasn't that delightful? And this is going to come out of left field, but it was The Christmas Prince, which is a Netflix original movie that low-key I thought, oh, wow, I get to see how hard it is being a member of the royal family in this instance. And, oh, I like all these characters, but some of them suck, and that makes it great. If you're going to try to approach the concept of there are these people who are of a higher class and that there are these people who are trying to aspire or possibly enter into that world, there's a lot of really good TV that does that. And one example that I'll give, it's not necessarily royalty, but it talks about class, is White Lotus in general. That's one of the things that makes that show so great, is you get to see the intertwining of those two worlds. That said, I don't think we need more talking about the British royal family, much more.
Yeah.
Like Netflix has
You've done enough.
Netflix has shown people aren't interested. They're not renewing the contract between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry and them. That was $100 million.
Wow.
That just got announced. So, hey, let's write original stories. Maybe
just watch Paddington.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is the most royal family
Peruvian royal family.
Yeah, exactly. The Peruvian royal family that was displaced to the United Kingdom. But, gentlemen, that is our flight. Before we go, I want to make sure that folks find you wherever you want to be found. So, Rich, where can folks find you?
You can find me hitting the bong in the royal chamber, and you can also find me on Instagram at Damn That's Rich. You can find original sketch comedy from Max and myself on TikTok at Dadwagon Comedy.
Max?
You can catch me waiting to play darts next. Seriously, guys, I put $1 down. It's my turn next. You can find me on all things social media at Maxwell Sig.
And you can find me eating all of the pie because Boris Johnson's fat ass doesn't need any. But if you're looking for me on social media,
this is now political theater.
Yeah. Get at me, Boris. If you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at Run Jeff Run. If you're looking for the TV Pilot's License, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also join the more than 1,000 people that follow us on YouTube if you want to see our smiling faces. If you have a question about the show or for our next episode, you can email us at tvpilotslicense@gmail.com or give us a call, leave us a voicemail, or shoot us a text at 213-290-1713. Make sure to watch out for some of the stuff that we have coming up. With the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you again soon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your fingers on the dial.
Boris Johnson sounds like the name of a very sad penis.
Oh my God.